So the night is just gonna repeat itself.
I don't remember that happening last time.
The Until Dawn movie has just dropped. Will this satisfy fans of the video games, or is it just too much of a departure from what that original story was? Well, let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm KillJoy Jake, and I really do not have friends, I just have horror movies. I spent 6 hours at the theater yesterday watching new flicks. No one wanted to go with me. But let me tell you, I do have some new movie reviews coming out hopefully this weekend. We're kicking it off with Until Dawn for now, but members especially should stay tuned for some exclusive reviews. Thank you for your support, now let's get into this. The Until Dawn movie has been controversial since the first trailer released, showcasing an entirely different plot than what was featured in the game. At the time, I was defending this one because it seemed like an ambitious departure from what we had already seen, and honestly, I didn't want to see a one-to-one adaptation of that video game because I have already played through that story a bunch of different times. I was also excited to see David F. Sandberg return to horror after making that Shazam sequel that nobody saw. That's no fault to the Pony Smasher, however, because he's a great director. He helmed one of the most underrated 2010s jump scare flicks called Lights Out that has a sequel on the way apparently, and the scariest Conjuring spin-off, Annabelle Creation, that's a hill I will die on. So is his return to horror a smash or pass? I am so on the fence about this movie, man. Let's just get this out of the gate right now. Fans of the video game are not going to like this adaptation. One of the biggest cons I have for this flick is that it recycles elements of the video game and poorly handles most of them. The sister subplot from the video game is reworked here to be the motivation for why our group goes to that cabin, which by the way is a lame basic horror house in this movie. 0 out of 10 for the setting compared to the video game, which is this like cold, icy winter set cabin. That's so much better. And then everything with the sister, which is so crucial to that video game, is just treated as an afterthought throughout the rest of the runtime after the group gets there. The new characters here pale in comparison to the pretty in-depth players from the video game too. It's stiff competition, however, because the video game easily has a better cast featuring Rami Malek, Hayden Panettiere, and Peter Stormare. Sorry, but you're just not gonna top that unless you're Ready or Not 2, which I think has the best modern horror movie cast ever. Cannot wait for that one, wow. Peter Stormare, interestingly enough, does reprise his role here as Dr. Hill in once again a bit of a reinvention, but I'll save that for maybe some spoiler talk in the future. Now, while I wasn't crazy about most of the characters in this flick, I actually did find myself rooting for Abel and Nina a few times. Most of the cast purposely falls into dumb young adults who are completely ineffective when they're faced with a situation that is life or death, but Abel actually has a few rational thoughts throughout this flick, which cuts through the miasma of stupidity here like a knife. Max made me want to jump through this screen and strangle him like every single time he opened his mouth. I can forgive a character for making a stupid mistake at the beginning of a movie like this where they're constantly recycling and coming back, similar to Happy Death Day, you might say. But this character refuses to learn and continues to do stupid things throughout this entire movie. Oh my god, that was so frustrating. Now, as an adaptation of that standout video game, I think this adaptation fails. But as a horror movie fan, I think this movie wonderfully answers the question of what if they made a sequel to Cabin in the Woods? There are a ton of interesting villains and horrifying situations that our admittedly bland cast of characters gets themselves into. Even the basic slasher that kicks off this movie's first night gets some really interesting kills, one involving an eyeball too. Y'all know how much I love a good eyeball kill. So while the characters and storylines here may not be as memorable as the game, the kills and the body horror certainly are. It makes this film a complicated one to review. I think if you're a fan of the video game and you want to see a movie similar to that, you will surely be disappointed. But if you're a horror movie fan, especially someone who likes Cabin in the Woods for its versatility like me, you may enjoy this one. I found it to be a really enjoyable popcorn movie that has some genuine scares and some unexpected jumps. The one positive I will give this movie on the video game adaptation side of things is the sort of meta commentary. What I mean by that is our characters are constantly trying to keep everybody alive, and there's even a scene where the remaining group has a disagreement about surviving the night. One member of their party has already been slain, and they argue that they should just restart so everyone can make it out. You can't tell me you didn't have that thought while playing through this game the first time. I was dead set on that the first time I played through Until Dawn, so that in my opinion has to be the best reference to the game here. Besides that, there are a few shallow shallow attempts at connecting this new story to the game that felt surface level and obvious. This movie doesn't feel like an Easter egg hunt like some other video game movie adaptations out there, but at times it can feel like the people making this didn't have that same passion for the game that fans obviously do have. There's a spectrum to modern video game adaptations, in my opinion. On one side of it is Five Nights at Freddy's, on the other is Until Dawn, and right in the middle is The Last of Us, which is easily the best thing I have seen so far. Sure, The Last of Us TV show definitely changes up a few things here, but it never strays away from what the core concept of that video game story is. Overall, I kind of enjoyed Until Dawn, but you might not. I could see this movie being a controversial talking point for a little while here, very similar to Halloween Ends, where it does have its fans, but it will certainly have its haters. Most will call it a swing and a miss, while a vocal minority will call it a diamond in the rough. I'm tentatively in that minority, but I completely and utterly understand the hate that this one is definitely going to receive. Hey everybody, here at KillJoy Jake, we're doing something fresh that no other channel on YouTube has ever done: horror movie reviews. So if you liked this very original video that no one else has ever attempted before in the past, I have more on the way. Please subscribe so you get notified whenever I drop something new on this page. Also check out my horror gaming channel GullGotha, where maybe one day, probably someday soon, I'll record a run through of this game. I still have never played the remaster from last year, dude. That could be coming sometime soon. Who knows? So what did you think about the Until Dawn movie? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.